Welcome to Session 5 of the Jesse and Kyle Show. I'm going to open it up with an interesting question towards Kyle. Kyle, you told me you don't like gum. Explain your reasoning.
It gets everywhere, dude. I mean, you chew it and you spit it out, and then somebody else did the same thing, not with the same piece, but they still did the same thing, and you step in theirs. And it's awful. I hate that stuff, dude. I always step in it.
You're supposed to put it back in the wrapper and throw that away. You know, you're not supposed to spit it on the ground. And if you do spit it out on the ground, at least have the decency to do it in grass.
No, then you can't see it.
Well, but if you step in it, it's harder to get it on your shoe because it's being it's put in the grass.
I just hate that stuff because, dude, I have the worst luck. If there's something on the ground, I'm gonna step in it.
What about chewing it? Why don't you like chewing it?
I don't like the texture, dude.
It's like chewing rubber.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is what it is. With sugar.
Yeah.
Artificial sweetener. It just helps me. It helps me concentrate. Like if I'm taking a test or having to read something. It helps me because I'm a kind of a jittery person. I kind of can't sit still. And if I'm chewing gum, that lets my hands be still because something is still moving.
I just don't like it.
Yeah, all right, that's fine. That's fine.
I was reading some different breakdowns of like all the different personality disorders that Americans seem to suffer from. And did you know that 40% of police officers have some kind of personality disorder, whether it's obsessive compulsive, borderline personality, whether minor types of schizophrenia.
What's border personality?
Borderline personality is pretty much like I hate you, don't leave me.
What?
It's borderline personality is pretty much a lot of really small personalities rolled into one diagnosis.
Okay. I hate you, don't leave me. Is that like just the generic example of borderline?
Yeah.
Okay. And 40% of the cops you said have some sort of personality disorder.
Yeah.
I can see where OCD can get in the way. You know, say like they need to wash their hands, and it's like they get a call, and it's like, hey, there's a bank robbery, and they're like, okay, well, I'm on 98, I gotta get to 204 times washing my hands. And I can see, well, the borderline personality. I mean, if you're by yourself, I don't see how that can really be a problem. If you have a partner,
when you're talking about when you're talking about the people that are supposed to be protecting the American citizens, and they're supposed to be upholding laws, do you really want somebody who's going to abuse that because they're not right in the head behind a badge and a gun?
Well, that's only 40%. That still leaves 60% that are mentally stable. They might be corrupt or something, but
I'm just saying, I would like to see like some kind of personality or mental screening that's in place, if there's not already a stringent one.
There's something. I'm sure they won't let people, because you said mild schizophrenia. I'm sure that might mean something along the lines of they only suffer from schizophrenia every once in a while, and it's probably like once a year or maybe once a decade even.
And you got to keep in mind that 40%, they break that down into all kinds of different stuff. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah, and so then that adds to the number of 40, because they might even put something in there as small as I don't know, they tap their toes as they walk or something, or as they sit.
I'm just saying, I would like to see more screening in place, because there are cops out there that are just. And I'm not saying all cops are like this. You've got great cops working out there.
Yeah.
But there are a few in every, say number of 10 that are just, they don't need to be working in public service.
But one thing that I do that you reminded me of, actually this happened while I was on my way home today. There's a cop. I was going about 5 above the speed limit, which is 25. I was going about 30. And so I slowed down because I see this cop. And he pulls out. He's behind me, okay? He's behind me. He goes around me. I'm going the speed limit now. And he goes around me. He goes 35. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to tail this guy. Then I'll just follow him. And so we get to the next stoplight. Speed limit is still 25. When the light switches to green, he guns it. He hits 45, and I'm just following him the whole time. I'm just like, well, whatever, you know. And another thing, this happened last week. I was on my way home after work on my lunch break, and there was a cop. I was going down a one-way street, and there was a cop coming the other way towards me head on. And I was going speed limit, which it was 25 again. And so this cop's coming at me, probably, you know, at least 20. He wasn't going the speed limit, but he was pretty close. And I just didn't know what to do. I ended up stopping, and he just went around me, like he's supposed to do that. And I don't know what the deal was, but I was freaked out. And I'm just wondering, like, do cops feel like they can break the law like that because they're in the cop car? Something I do want to throw in there. I mean, how many times have you seen this? I've seen this a couple of times, more than once, where a cop turns on his lights, goes around everybody, gets in front of the line, and then turns them off and waits, like everyone else. Like it's a red light. And
I've seen that once.
Yeah, and then another thing I've seen this more than once, where they do the exact same thing, except they don't stop at the red light. They go past the red light, then turn them off, and then keep driving. And I mean, like you said, not all cops do this, but when you see it, what's your reaction? Does it infuriate you? Are you like, wow, that's really messed up? Or do you kind of giggle a little bit, kind of like, oh man, that's kind of funny? Because I know I find it funny. I find it hilarious. And like I said today, I followed that cop. When he was speeding, I was right behind him.
I don't think it's funny at all. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, these people are paid to be public servants, and they're abusing what they're being paid to do. We're going to talk to you guys about credit scores today. See, that's the general reaction that most people give, but you don't have to be afraid of a credit card or your credit score. There's an easy way to actually get your credit score positive, like an actual good credit score. And what you do is, I mean, you need to have a credit card, of course. What you do is you make a purchase, call it $100 and $200. When you get your bill, pay half of the minimum that you owe, and that will start building your credit score. If you just pay the minimum, they're going to charge you interest, and it's going to be ridiculous. You're going to tack on, 6 months to 2 years, at least.
Another way, and this is of course easier if you're kind of young like us and just starting to build your credit. I mean, if you're already in the hole, if you already have a score of 2, this might not help you that much. But another thing you can do is you can take out a loan. You might have to take it out and have someone, I don't even know what the term would be, but have them like ranked above you in case you can't pay it, they get the penalty. You take out a loan of say $5,000. You throw it back in the bank, let it gain interest. Now, the interest of the loan is going to be higher than the interest of the of what you put it in the savings account, but still, it helps a little bit. And you pay that a little bit at a time. And say after a year, you put all the money that you got in your savings account, and then you pay the rest off. You're gonna have some money left over, but that's gonna jump your credit score or help it a lot.
Yeah, there's no reason to be afraid of a credit card or of your credit score if you do what you need to do.
Now, if you're a frequent shopper, or if you ever held a credit card and felt empowered, like you could buy anything, then maybe you should be worried a little bit.
You need to contact a financial advisor because we can't help you with that. We're going to wrap up Session 5 of the Jesse and Kyle Show now. Just to give you guys a heads up, subscribe. Props to Uvu. Email us at thejesseandkyleshow@gmail.com. We love that viewer mail.